writers, and welcome to week 3. This week is a new beginning for us as we enter into our first course textbook of the semester, which is Wild Mind by Natalie Goldberg. If you scroll down on the homepage, you'll see our button links. You'll be clicking on weeks 3 through 6, Wild Mind by Goldberg. For the next 4 weeks actually, weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6, you will be coming directly to this link for all of the assignments and discussions. Let's get started. So it's important that you watch the videos that I make, especially if you tend to get lost or if this is really kind of your first go at Canvas, and also because even if you're familiar with Canvas, I could possibly answer questions that pop up for you. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of this module so you have in your mind what to expect for the next 4 weeks. Here's Module 1, Wild Mind and Rhetoric. We start with a little introduction to this unit. Welcome to our next learning unit on Rhetoric and Natalie Goldberg's Wild Mind. In this next 4 weeks, we're going to learn about many interesting ideas and concepts. Some of them may be new, and others will be familiar to you. The goal for the next 4 weeks is to learn about the rhetorical triangle, which includes ethos, pathos, and logos, and to cultivate our own writing practice. Get ready for some serious fun. All of the discussions and assignments in this unit will help you to brainstorm, draft, and develop your first official essay, a reading response and analysis of one of the stories in Natalie Goldberg's book, Wild Mind. They will also build on your writing skills with mind mapping, clustering, free writing, golden lines, and annotating, talking to a text. Have fun and work hard. So again, we're building on the skills that we've been practicing these last couple weeks. We start our unit in week 3 by looking at 2 things, the rhetorical triangle and what an argument looks like. We're starting with the rhetorical triangle. So in this discussion, we have a little breakdown of what the 3 rhetorical appeals are. Now, many of you guys learned of these in high school or even in college already. But if you haven't, don't worry. It's totally fine. Bust out your journal and draw a triangle in your journal. During this discussion, you are going to build on and develop what the rhetorical triangle looks like in your journal. There are 3 points to a triangle. For each point, you're going to write one of the 3 rhetorical appeals: pathos, logos, and ethos, passion, logic, and ethics. It helps to scribble down a couple of these little points. But throughout this discussion, you should be developing your rhetorical triangle notes in your journal. We've got 3 videos. The first 2 videos go over the persuasive appeals. The first one is about 1.5 minutes. The second one is about 5 minutes. And the last one is a longer video that goes over Clueless, the movie, 20 minutes, and it shows you the appeals of logic that are happening within that film. So your task for this discussion is to post 1 paragraph response to the rhetorical triangle information that you've learned. It can be anything. You can focus on the videos, the first video, the second video, or the last video. It's totally up to you. You do not have to write about everything that you learned in this particular discussion because that is impossible. So here's some ideas. What got you thinking? What questions popped into your mind? What's new and what's familiar? And if you'd like, you can pull a golden line. Tell us why the golden line or the part that you picked to share was interesting to you. Also, make sure that if you're prompted, to read and respond to classmates' post. It's great to read other people's ideas. Sometimes you'll respond, sometimes you'll give them a heart, or you'll like what they wrote, and sometimes you won't actually say anything. So keep in mind about what you're being asked to do for each of the particular discussions. And in this one, you're responding with a full paragraph. Engage in ideas, ask questions, just pretend like you're actually having a conversation with whoever you decide to talk to on the discussion board. So next for week 3, we're actually going to jump into Wild Mind. Hopefully, during this week's Zoom session, we'll have time to actually read a little bit of Wild Mind, the beginning of it. But if we don't, or if you didn't attend, or if we didn't get that far, right, all possible options, you're going to read Wild Mind from the very, very intro all the way up to page 18. before you start this discussion. In this discussion, you're going to watch a few videos of Natalie Goldberg kind of sharing a little bit of who she is. And then you're going to hop on the discussion board and you're going to free write in your journal first for 10 minutes. And when you come to the discussion board, you can share something from your free write or something that you connected with in one of these videos. Make sure that you follow each of these steps. So you're going to watch the videos, do a little free writing, and then post your response. Don't forget to read up to page 18 in Wild Mind, just so you have a sense of Natalie Goldberg's voice before you jump into this discussion. And lastly, read another classmate's post and respond thoughtfully to at least one person in the class. Remember, in the discussion board, you are connecting, you are building on ideas, you're asking questions, and you're pretending like it's an actual live voice-face discussion. As we keep going in week 3, we are going to jump into a story called The Quiet Place. Now this story is short, just like all her other stories, and it's beautiful. It starts on page 25. You're going to read The Quiet Place, make sure that you talk to the text, or you annotate or tattoo the text. Always do that as you're reading any of the readings for this class to kind of imprint some of the information and to actively engage your mind in what you're reading. This will help you with comprehension, and it will also help you when you're tasked to do something else with that reading, because your mind will already have come up with some ideas. Another great idea is to jump into your journal and to make a little cluster or a mind map of the things that you're learning. So I use those all the time. In this discussion, you are going to do the writing exercise at the end of the story. The story writing prompt is on page 30. In your journal, you're going to give yourself 30 minutes to write the story out. So make sure you read over the prompt once or twice before jumping into your free write. Feel free to time yourself. After you're done doing that, you are going to hop on this discussion board and you're going to tell us about your writing experience. You don't have to talk about exactly what you wrote about in your free write. What I'm asking you to do is to tell us about the experience of doing this particular writing assignment. You're writing on a subject, situation, or story that's hard for you to talk about. So you don't have to share what you wrote, but I want you to share with us what your process was like. How did you feel? What obstacles did you encounter? Was monkey mind hopping in there? What details popped up in your story that you thought you'd forgotten? Or what surprised you? Remember, post at least one solid paragraph and make sure you respond to a classmate, connecting and building on ideas. The last activity that you'll be doing for week 3 is chapters 8 through 12, pages 31 through 51. You're going to start by skimming over chapters 8 through 12, and you're going to take notes in your journal. You can make a cluster, you can write down words or golden lines that stand out to you, but for this particular discussion, I am only asking you to pick one of the stories in the chapter and write about it here on the discussion board. You're posting a 2-paragraph response. The first one is a summary paragraph. When you engage in summary, I'm asking you to write your summary in a specific academic way. This is what I mean. If you click on the link, you'll see a handout that I made for you. In this handout, I've outlined how to write a solid gold summary. This is how you do it. You're familiar with summary. You've done it your whole life. These are kind of the different points or different things that you should include in your summary. So for this discussion, make sure that you slow down, bust out your journal. In the center of your journal page, write the art of summary and capture all the ideas that are here in this handout in your journal, so that later, for any class that you have to write a summary for, or anytime you have to recount information, you can use your cluster to help you. Remember, this is great advice. And importantly, the last thing on this handout is a sample summary. This is what I'm asking you to do. I've taken the rules here for writing a great summary, and I've written a summary to show you what it looks like. So everything in here is actually all the bullet points that of advice that I've given you here. Good luck with your summary and have fun with week 3. If you go back to the module that we're now on, which is Natalie Goldberg's Wild Mind and Rhetoric, you'll see everything that's in store for you for the next 4 weeks. Now, I just went over the first part of this module all the way through page 51 in Wild Mind. So I advise you to take your time, to trust your mind, and to give yourself space and quiet where you can read, relax, and just enjoy this textbook and the writing exercises. Remember, One of your goals for this week is to cultivate your writing practice. That takes time, but it also takes you showing up. If you show up and you try your best, wonderful things will come. Have a great week 3, and I will see you online. Oh, and I forgot to add, spend at least 5 minutes scrolling through this module so that you know what's in store. I showed you week 3, but we've also got week 4, which is packed with stuff for you to do. We've got week 5, where you're going to continue reading Wild Mind and looking at deeper into what rhetoric actually is, and then into week 6, where you're going to have your first essay due. Now, we're going to do it in stages, but if you have time, and I would recommend that you make time, I would go through this entire module so that you have an idea of what's in store. If you do that, you'll notice your anxiety will lessen, especially for those of you who get nervous when you have an official writing essay to do. And also, you'll feel more confident because you'll have a sense of what our process is going to be like. Again, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you online.